My name is Elena. I'm telling you this story as someone who is still alive. But I believe whatever I left behind in that forest is still walking beside me. My channel is so close to reaching 100 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's completely free and would mean a lot if you supported me. Let me know in the comments if you subscribed. I'll be dropping a heart on those comments. And don't forget to share this video. I'm Elena, 27 years old. I've always loved camping alone, being by myself in nature. Last year, I set off on a solo trip to the northwestern forests to combine my passion for photography with the wilderness. My destination was a place few people even knew about, White Ridge Forest Park. But when I arrived, the hiking trails I expected were either closed or didn't exist at all. Still, I kept walking. The first thing I noticed inside the forest was the mist. It wasn't falling from the sky, and it wasn't rising like steam. It was growing out of the ground, thin, and moving like it had a mind of its own. It was 3 p.m., yet it felt like the sun had already set. I reached a clearing. Among the trees, I saw what looked like an abandoned campsite. Rusty picnic tables, overturned benches, and in the center, a fire pit blackened with age. But the strangest part was a wooden sign, half buried in the grass. In bold, carved letters, it read, "Don't set up camp before the mist appears. The mist will open a path, but it won't ask where you want to go." The first night, I set up my tent. Before night fell, I wanted to take some shots with my camera. But something odd happened. The mist didn't get thicker with the night. It started to pull back at midnight. And when the mist cleared, the campsite had changed. It no longer matched the location on my map. The trees were shaped differently. The layout of the benches and the fire pit, everything was off. It felt like I had been moved, or time itself had shifted. The voice. Around 2 a.m., just as I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a voice outside my tent. It was my voice. "Come out now." I thought it was some kind of joke. Then another sentence. "The mist has opened the path. Let's go." I grabbed my flashlight and slowly stepped outside. No one was there, but a narrow path had appeared, right in front of my tent, cutting through the mist. It wasn't there before. Now it was. My instincts told me to go back inside, but my feet started walking forward. The passage, the trail felt endless, and as I walked, something terrifying happened. The trees around me began to get younger, their bark smoother, leaves brighter. Time was rewinding. Then I stopped. There was someone standing in the path. A woman. She looked exactly like me. Same hair, same eyes, same backpack. But her movements, it was like she was studying me. She mimicked my expressions. When I opened my mouth, she did too, in perfect sync. Then she spoke, in my own voice. "You came far enough. Now I can leave." And she walked into the darkness. I turned around. The path behind me was gone. Morning. I woke up in the clearing. Everything looked normal. The benches, the fire pit, the sign, just like before. But when I turned on my camera, there was a video I didn't record. Someone had been filming me all night. The last frame, me, standing in front of the tent. But the thing is, I never left the tent. The exit, I left that place. But no matter where I go, sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I'm not the one who blinks. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to subscribe for more. And remember, the mist doesn't make you lose your way. It comes to take your place. My name is Tyler. What I'm about to tell you is something I still can't explain. But every time I get close to a campsite at night, that burn mark on my skin starts to show again. Last fall, my friends and I, a group of 4, decided to camp near the Oregon border. We found a place deep inside an abandoned forest called Red Pine, where an old fire watch tower still stood. Nick was the one who found the spot. He stumbled upon it in a weird Reddit forum. There was only one comment under the post: "Do not cross the red circle." We thought it was just another creepy internet story. But what we found there, I'll never forget. Day 1. The red circle. Everything seemed normal when we got there. The trail was rough, the air misty, but nothing to be scared of. After an hour-long hike to the watchtower, we found the perfect clearing for our tents. But that night, something changed. As we lit the campfire, we noticed a strange outline between the stones. A faint red circle was etched into the grass, like a burn mark coming from beneath the soil. And the strangest part? The circle was perfectly aligned with our fire pit. Once it appeared, the fire's sound changed. It no longer crackled like burning wood. It sounded like wet flesh sizzling. Nick tried to dig through the ring, but every time his fingers touched the ground, he yanked them back. The soil felt hot, almost alive. Night, the whisper that woke me. Around midnight, I was pulled out of sleep by a whisper. "Step inside." When I looked up, the watchtower's light was on. We rushed over, but when we got there, the tower was completely empty. There was no power, no lights, and yet, it glowed. We even saw someone pacing inside. Nick joked, "Looks like someone's throwing a party up there." But the moment he stepped forward, the red circle reappeared. And this time, it wasn't just on the ground. It was floating above the fire. A dim, glowing red ring, spinning slowly. And inside it, shadows. But none of them looked like us. Day 2. The disappeared. By morning, Nick was gone. His tent was untouched. But he wasn't inside. We searched everywhere. Went back to the watchtower. The light was off again. Inside, we found something scratched into the wooden wall. "One has passed the circle. Now another must follow." Panic set in. We agreed to leave immediately. But no matter which way we walked, we always came back to the same place. Back to the circle. Final night, sleeping with shadows. We didn't light a fire that night. We thought maybe the circle wouldn't show, but it did, on its own. And this time, we didn't even speak. Yet we heard voices. "Tyler, you didn't join us. It's your turn." And a shadow appeared inside my tent. It had my shape. When I reached out, it lifted its hand too, but not at the same time. A second too late. It was mimicking me, like a delayed echo. By morning, I was alone. Their tents were still there, but empty, and the red circle was around me now. The exit, full circle. I finally made it out of that forest. But just as I left, I turned back one last time. The watchtower light was on again, and someone was standing in the window. It was me. But I was already outside. If this story got under your skin, don't forget to subscribe for more. And remember, some circles never close. They just wait for someone new. My name is Derek. I'm 23 years old. What I'm about to tell you happened 3 years ago. but its effect still haunts me. To this day, I wake up drenched in sweat. That night, the only thing I should have heard was silence. But the bell rang. I had reunited with 3 old college friends, Logan, Max, and Olivia. We'd all scattered across different cities, but we planned a weekend camping trip to relive the old days. Max told us about a secret campsite he'd heard from someone. It wasn't on any map, but on GPS, there was a clearing near the ruins of an old monastery. It was unusual, intriguing, and so we went. After a 4-hour hike deep into the woods, we set up camp. That night, while sitting around the fire, Olivia noticed something strange in the grass. A stone, round in shape, and carved into its surface, was a bell, perfectly etched, almost smooth to the touch. When we picked it up, nothing happened. But at midnight, we all heard it. Boom! Like a massive bell ringing from miles away. But the air was still. There was no wind, no movement. And somehow, only the 4 of us had heard it. The next morning, Max couldn't speak. Or more precisely, when he did, no sound came out. He tried to scream, but only his lips moved. Olivia said she couldn't hear anything. And Logan, when he tried to talk, his voice just faded. Something was silencing us. I was the only one who could still hear. And then, I saw it, behind the trees. Tall, thin, a figure, with a bell hanging from its neck, watching us, but making no sound. The law of the bell. That night, Olivia was fiddling with the stone again, and beneath some dirt and moss, a hidden phrase appeared. Those who hear the bell cannot speak. If they do, the echo will take them. From that point on, we stayed completely silent. No talking, not even a whisper. But Logan couldn't hold it in. At sunrise, he asked, "Can you hear me?" And at that exact moment, the bell rang again, much closer this time. Logan's eyes rolled back, and then he was gone. No scream, no trace, just silence. Max and Olivia panicked, but even their cries made no sound. They gathered their things in desperate silence. I motioned for the way out, but the forest had changed. Every direction showed the same tree, over and over again. And every 15 minutes, the bell rang again. Each time, we grew weaker. Olivia collapsed after the 3rd toll. Her eyes closed. Peaceful, but wrong. Just me and Max were left. We returned to the campsite, and there it was. The stone, still on the ground. But now, it had a new name carved into it. Logan. The end. Max vanished the next day. His voice had already gone. The shadow took him. And me. I'm still here. But I don't speak anymore. I'm only writing this down. Because I know, if I use my voice, it'll hear me. And the bell will ring again. If this story chilled you to the bone, don't forget to subscribe for more. And remember, silence isn't always scary. Sometimes, it's just waiting for your scream. My name is Noah. I used to love camping. But this story, this isn't a camping trip. It's the story of a night when the forest didn't want us there. And that night, the trees were moving. Last summer, we planned a small reunion with my old high school friends. James, Carter, Ellie, and me. The popular campgrounds were too crowded, so we looked for somewhere remote. And we found it, a forgotten place called Sloan Ridge. It wasn't on any blog. GPS barely worked. But Carter said it was mentioned in some old hiker's journal. The first strange thing happened as we were setting up camp. The ground was wet, but the air was dry. No rain, no humidity, just damp, almost muddy soil beneath our feet. And not a single drop had fallen on us. James shrugged. Probably just cold ground from the night air, he said. But then Ellie said something that sent a chill down my spine. Weren't the trees farther away? That night, we sat around the fire, just talking. Then suddenly, we all fell quiet. But the silence. It wasn't the peaceful kind you expect in the woods. It was dead. No insects. No wind. No rustling leaves. Just nothing. And that's when we noticed. The trees around us had changed. When we first arrived, our camp was in a wide clearing. But now, thick trees stood only a few feet away, surrounding us, forming a circle. And that circle was getting smaller. Ellie whispered, "Okay, who's messing with us?" But this wasn't something anyone could control. Carter snapped a branch and threw it into the woods. But there was no sound, no impact. It just vanished into the air. The next morning, Carter was gone. His tent was there. Shoes, backpack, everything. Except for him. We split up, calling his name. Then James suddenly stopped. He turned to Ellie and said, "Did you hear that?" She shook her head. So did I. There was nothing. James knelt down, pressing his ear to the soil. "There's something walking underneath us." We went silent. And then we heard it too. Footsteps. Not above. Below. As if someone or something was walking in circles beneath our camp. That night, we relit the fire. We knew nothing about this was normal anymore. Ellie was trembling. I was holding a knife, even though I knew it wouldn't help. And then, one of the trees moved. Not swaying, not bending. It shifted. Its roots rose above the soil, twisting, curling. And that's when it hit me. The forest wasn't just filled with life. It was alive. Not just the trees. The land, the ground, everything. Breathing, watching, waiting. James bolted. But after only a few steps, he fell. A root had wrapped around his ankle. Ellie tried to scream, but no sound came out. She was dragged down, pulled by the earth itself. I ran. And then, everything went black. Now, the living map. They found me a week later, miles away from the campsite, barefoot, clutching something in my hand. A map, drawn in mud, and it moves. There are 3 small black dots on it. James, Carter, Ellie. They saved me, but the map never stopped moving. And every night, one of the dots gets closer. If this story pulled you in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And remember, some forests don't grow. They move closer.